All right, I think I'm live. I've done this 3 times now, but every time I ask if it's working. So if you guys can hear me and see me, let me know. I'm gonna apologize in advance. I went to sleep like probably 5 hours ago, and I'm not feeling wonderful today, but that is self-inflicted. So yeah, we've got a couple minutes left here before this thing is scheduled to start. So if anybody's got any quick questions before that, I'll start talking the normal way at 10 a.m. my time here in 2 minutes. But until then, all yours. Hey, how's it going, Serenity Guitars? I don't know your actual name, so that sounds weirdly impersonal. But good morning. Oh, Joe, I will cover that. Don't worry. Don't worry. We will talk about the pickup ring thing. Yeah, Mike, I had too many of something last night. It wasn't Coors Lights, but it was too close. All right. Hey, Brian. Connor, I think Oxford, I asked the question. Oxford has now struck a deal, if you will. That was a silly way to put that. They're available through Solo Music Gear now. And Solo has been shipping stuff all over the world. So I don't know if that includes Lacquer. I'm waiting to hear back on that. I've asked, but you might be in business. You might be able to go to Solo Music Gear, Solo Guitars right now and buy Oxford through their site, even though you're in the States. It's possible. I haven't confirmed. I'm trying. Thanks, Colin. Yeah, actually hitting the deadline. Uh, we're going to talk about that too. Uh, what's up, Reality Studios? Thank you again for coming up with the name to my guitar, the Mammoth. I was struggling to think of another pachyderm that I could use. I didn't want to call it the hippo or the elephant. And the way this conversation went was actually hilarious because I said, well, do heffalumps and woozles count? Because when I was young, Winnie the Pooh was something that people watched. And well, the mammoth makes a little bit more sense. I think we can probably all agree on that, right? Let's relax. If you see Michael Friesel, I think that's how you pronounce that, suggesting a finish in the comments, listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. All right. It's 10 a.m. Good morning, everyone. It's 10 a.m. my time. If it's not morning where you're at, well, you're going to have to live with me saying good morning. As I've said, for those of you who weren't on, I apologize if I'm not looking particularly energetic. I went to bed like 6 hours ago. Self-inflicted, my own fault. But hey, here we are. So we're going to talk a little bit about the great guitar build-off today, and then I'm going to try and answer your questions. They're coming in pretty quick, and I can't see all of them. But yeah, we'll see what we can do there. First of all, I think everybody realizes this now because it's been 13 days since the deadline, or 14 days since we were all supposed to have our builds up, our videos up. And I did the same thing I did last year. I put my build up on the deadline, and then I did some demos after. If you haven't seen the demo of my friend Tyler playing this thing, he is unreal. Even if you don't like the guitar, it's worth a watch because of his skills. I was sitting here in awe while he was playing it, and I was filming it. My point being, this thing has been pushed back now. And I think at this point, it's no longer, there was some discussion about it being the 18th, which is a Friday, which I thought might have made sense, but it doesn't matter. It's now going to be, I think, the 19th because that's a Saturday. So that should be maybe easier for people to catch. So the deadline will be the 19th, as far as I know. And hopefully I'm not mistaken on that. And all of the remaining builders, which I think is 4 of them, should have their builds up, their videos up on the 19th. You'll be able to catch all of that content on that day. Should be good. I'm really looking forward to seeing what some of these guys do. They've had a little extra time. They're creative people. Should be very, very interesting. So I know what I'll be doing the morning of the 19th. Hopefully they're up in the morning. Who knows? That's when the auction will go live as well. And yeah, you'll get a chance to pick whichever guitar you like the best and bid on it if you're able to. The other thing here is I did try to confirm this. Any votes that you've placed up until now are good. They still count. I'm not sure if you can change them, but I mean, you haven't seen all the builds yet. So it makes sense to me to wait until the 19th, pick which one you like the best. I appreciate that some people gave me the benefit of the doubt because I finished on time, but you might like another guitar much better. But thank you to those of you who have voted for me. Now, we did talk. Sorry, I got my coffee going here. Believe me, I need it. We did talk about this pickup ring thing in a recent video where I did my spec kind of run through in my demo. And I've had someone ask me today, are you going to put a pickup ring on? So here's what I'm planning. I might actually go into the shop today and do this, but hey, I got lots of time now. Here's what I'm planning. I'm going to make a pickup ring. Or I'm going to make two things and I'm going to decide which one I like better. A pickup ring and just two little mounting wings. Now, we've talked about, a few people have mentioned, trying to make a ring that follows all these sweeps and stuff. The problem here is I've got a hard line, a straight line on this side, so I can't do the same kind of thing. It just won't look right. I could kind of cut that and do a bit of a sweep, but I think it would look pretty busy. So I'm going to probably keep it very minimalist and just do the wings. What I'm not going to do is install that prior to the deadline. I'm going to make it, and then I'm going to wait out the time period for the bidding, which I think is until the end of the month. I'm going to show it to you guys, and whoever ends up bidding on it and winning it, we'll get to decide what it's put on. Simply put, it was like a 50-50 split. Seriously, I'm pretty sure for every comment I got that said, make a pickup ring, it will complete it, or it will, really tie everything together, or it looks stupid without it, or whatever. For every comment I got like that, I got another one saying, it's great the way it is. Don't do it. It's going to be too busy. So I'm just going to let you guys decide. And by you guys, I mean, whoever ends up with it gets the pick. That's how it's going to go. I'll ship it to them uninstalled if they want, or I'll put it on, or whatever. It doesn't matter. I want whoever ends up with this guitar to be happy with it. And if that includes a pickup ring, then perfect. Works for me. And then we have to build another one of these because I like this guitar. All right, I'm going to try and pick up some of these comments now because I'm getting a little OCD watching all these fly by. So I'm going to scroll back up a little bit. I'm finally in a spot where I can actually read these, at least somewhat. Hi, David. Mike, why am I not in church? Why aren't you in church? Answering a question with a question. That's terrible. Rhino fits better with the design. Well, fair enough, Joe. I didn't want to name two of them Rhino in a row. Maybe I could have Rhino Model 1, Rhino Model 2. I don't know. I don't build enough guitars for it to, for the naming conventions to be all that important, but maybe I will someday. Who knows? Piece of mammoth ivory. I'm gonna make a nut. Oh, what? How did you find a piece of mammoth ivory? That's wild. Oh no, I just zoomed in. Okay, we're back. Yeah, Brad. Yeah, we're slow. I don't know what happened. I thought we were all on track. I didn't receive anything prior to the deadline that said that we were going to be slow. The only indication that we had, most of us, is Ben saying, I'm not going to be done, but you can vote based on what I've got complete and hopefully bid. So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. I know I spent the 31st of May jumping back and forth between the channels of the people who I was waiting to see the builds from. Oh well, they've got a little extra time. Optimistically, I think it'll be worth it. If they couldn't get it done in time, then now they've got some extra time, and hopefully they're going to be able to come up with something really cool. It was tough. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It was tough getting this done within the deadline on weekends when I don't build guitars frequently. So here we are. 9 here in the Pacific. Well, sorry, David. Hopefully that's not too early. 10 came pretty early for me today, which was unfortunate, but here we are. Guitar must go to the wood chipper. So Lonnie says, because Crimson Guitars missed the deadline under the rules, the guitar must go to the wood chipper, right? That's funny. Ben actually withdrew from the competition, so he's going to finish his guitar. He's going to auction it off. It's still going to go to their charity, but he's considered himself withdrawn from the competition, which is very magnanimous of him, but probably not necessary. But it's a great sentiment, and he's put some of his personal tools up for auction as well as penance. So, yeah, really class act on his part. I think we can all appreciate that. Is that oh, who else is going to? Brad, thank you for the super chat. I think that might be the first one of those I've ever gotten. That's awesome. I much appreciated. I don't know who's going to win. Let's put it this way. Every build that I've seen so far, I really like. Ben's is super creative. Tamar went ahead and used metal in hers, which I thought was my thing, but she did it in a wonderful way. It's buried under the top layer of wood with the gaps. I assume you guys have all seen it. Really awesome. Like there's just some super cool stuff that's happened here. I don't understand even the engineering around Tim's build. Really cool. Hey, even Colin included metal. I guess it's really just not my not just me anymore. It's becoming more prevalent. Let's put it that way. Don't do it. Promise, I'm not a slow reader. There's just a lot here. Oh, Derek, did I steal your time slot? Sorry, man. I didn't. I didn't realize. I'll have to coordinate next time. I know I can't go live Sunday evenings because the guys from Texas Toast do it, but yes, there's got to be some time during the week that I can do this safely, right? People are going to hate why are people going to hate the winner, Brad? I hope not. All right. You know what? It's let's call it Q&A time. There's not a whole lot really to say about the contest other than what I've already said. What I will suggest is if you're going to vote, which I hope you're all going to, when you go to vote, the website's a little finicky. So what happens is you pull up the Vote Now page, and it sounds super straightforward, but it catches people a little off guard. They end up voting for people they don't mean to because there's a Vote Now button or a vote button. But if you push it, you've actually already voted. So you have to go in, select, click on the face of the person whose build you like the best, and then hit vote. Yeah, didn't trip me up too much, but I think there has been some confusion as a result of that. All right, let's continue. Oh, I forgot to mention Laura's build. Not only did she trash talk me in a way that I found incredible, some of the best material I've seen, but then she built a guitar that looked exactly like a Poppy, and it seems to play quite well, which is really impressive for somebody who's never built a neck before. So she did a great job. I'm hoping she's going to stick around with the Great Guitar Build Off stuff because I intend to, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what she does next year. Never seen somebody build so many guitars that resemble other things and do it so well, frankly. How do you spray paint grass? Tired of watering the lawn. I'll have to get in touch with my local golf course because they did it. But there is, I assume you weren't planning on receiving an answer to this, but there is actually a sprayable grass seed that is tinted green, and it's visibly weirdly green, but it looks good. So you get that and you spray it on your lawn or whatever, and it includes the seed and it includes the color, and yeah, it's helpful. It will not prevent you from having to mow your lawn, though. The short answer there is put it in turf. Oh, who's going to win the auction for the mammoth? I hear you, Brad. Yeah. Hey, man, you tell me. What I will say is whoever wins it this year won't have to go through the same unboxing ritual that Brad did last year when he won the Rhino. I do have another box like that, and it took me, probably 40 minutes to do up all the straps, to the point where I made a video of me boxing up this guitar because it was such a friggin' ordeal. And I had the guy who made the box for me cackling in the background just really, really enjoying watching me struggle through putting this thing into a bomb-proof box with 20 straps on it. This year, I just bought a flight case. So, oh, yeah, we're keeping it simple this time. Uh, Jeez. Yes, Dave. Cullen's guitar is awesome. You know what? None of the invitationals so far have been anything short of great. Like I'd actually love to own them. It would be sweet to have them all displayed right here. I can't afford all of them or probably any of them, but I'm certainly going to be bidding on at least one. This is a substantial amount of comments. Come to the Crimson Guitars Discord. I hate to admit this because I'm probably younger than I look, but I don't even know what Discord is. I thought that I was too old for it, and then I realized that that is certainly not the case, but I still don't actually know what it is. I know that Microsoft was planning a takeover of them and that it seemed like a good investment for a brief period, but that's about all I got. Who doesn't have a really good? What's your opinion on Ben's? First of all, thank you, Joe, for the super chat. This is now the second one that I've received, I think, lifetime, and that is awesome. That's super cool that they let you do that, and I really appreciate it. And it's very, very easy to read, which is also helpful because there's a lot of stuff going on here. My opinion on Ben's guitar so far. There are a couple things to say here. First of all, I love the concept of top, bottom, and support and kind of nothing in between, so to speak. I was planning on doing something like that in fact, I've already got the face and the back cut from a couple of years ago. You know how I am with projects. I kind of like come up with a project, maybe sort of start it, don't finish it. I'm terrible. I need to fix that. But what I was planning on doing is an aluminum top and back. And then if you know what coupling nuts are, they're like a 1.5 to 2 inch nut. I was going to do thread rod, coupling nuts, and either weld, but probably not, more likely acorn nuts on the top and back, and create like this super industrial top and back. And then the same kind of thing. Sorry, I probably sound kind of weird here. Like I said, I'm pretty hungover. So I was going to create that through the middle as a support, install the pickups, and do something very similar to what Ben's done. And I love the idea. So I love the very creative concept that Ben has come up with because the shapes and everything are really cool. The only difficult part about Ben's, from my perspective, is having the ends of the sticks coming through the top and the back. But he's done it in such a way that there's some relative uniformity there, and more importantly, they're in the darker part of the burst, and I think they look awesome. I really do. So I love Ben's guitar. I'm excited to see how it plays. I think it will be strong enough if that's a concern for everyone. I realize it's thin material, but he's got lots of supports in there. The only concern is if the back kind of gives out on him, which I don't think is an issue. And if it is, it's a pretty straightforward fix. He could glue something in there. So I like it. It's very interesting. I think he did a great job with the color. If I were finishing Ben's guitar, I probably would have done an opaque outside of the burst to camouflage those ends, but they're nice. Like there's nothing wrong with them. That's just personally how I probably would have done it because I like to spray stuff and he was trying to avoid that. So yeah, that's what I think of Ben's guitar. I'd buy it if I could. Hey, maybe I will. You're 63 and you're on Discord. Okay, well, fine. What am I supposed to say? I'll check it out. Is it an app? Spike, is Discord an app or a website? Let me know what it is, and I'll see if I can get on there because I really should. All right, let's see what else we've got. Brian, yes, I am done with school. It's been actually quite a while here, but when I started this channel, I was in undergrad, and then I went through more school for some reason. But now I'm finally done. I've been out since 2017. So Oh, that's a good point too. Yeah. So with Ben's guitar, Brian raises an interesting comment here. Uh, I'm going to be interested to see how he gets the electronics installed. Like, I think it'll be similar to how an ES335 type of setup is done, but there's no F holes really to work with. He's just got those cuts on the sides. So how he feeds all of that in place is going to be interesting to see. I also don't know from looking at it if it's going to be, but he's got three, right? He's got the switch up top, and I thought volume and tone. But if that's true, I have no idea where his output jack is going to go. So it might just be tone or volume and output coming out the front. I don't know. I'm really excited to see what he does with it. One video left, purportedly. I'm sure he will finish in the next one, and then we'll know what the end result is, what Ben's plan is. Too bad it's going to the wood chipper. Yeah, well, hopefully it gets auctioned off and supports the charity. If it goes to the wood chipper, that'll be a shame. But he did break his own rules, so maybe. Your fence fell down. Jeez. All right, Connor. Thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. The King guitar. That's the one that I'm building next. The 3 pickup. I have no business demoing guitars, as you know. I am terrible at it, but hey, maybe I can get Tyler to do it again. And I also don't know my way around wiring very well. So if you're planning on sending me a wiring harness to do that, you're going to need to send me some instructions because I am wildly unsophisticated when it comes to wiring. In fact, that's why this green metal guitar has never been demoed. It's got so much going on, and for some reason, maybe because of the metal top, which doesn't really make sense to me because I do metal guards and stuff, I can't get it to make any noise. So that's on the to-do list. There's a lot on the to-do list. Crimson Discord. Okay. Yeah. I'll take a look. I'll have to figure it out. Did we talk about this? It is an app. Okay. Download it and use a website. Sure. Or download it or use a website. Okay. That shouldn't be too hard. I can look up Discord. That's not beyond my abilities. I'm not that much of a Luddite, hopefully. 4 pickups in a piezo. Come on, man. That's so many pickups. What am I don't know how to handle that many wires. It's gonna look like a plate of spaghetti if I try and do anything with that. It all looks like a plate of spaghetti to me, frankly. All right. Yeah, an output jack is really all you need, right? Michael, the 2K over. So here's the thing. Michael has just asked me what gave me the idea to do Odie's oil over a 2K finish, which is what I ended up with here. And that's actually a longer answer than one would anticipate, but you know me, I like to talk. So I'm going to. I spent probably an hour on the phone with a guy who is from Odie's Oil. Like, he works there, he helps develop it, he finishes a lot of stuff with it, and he's got a background in film finishes like lacquer and that sort of thing. So we had a long chat about something I'll probably do a video on, which is a little bit of the chemical composition and all of that. And to make a long story short-ish, Odie's oil, I mean, it's designed to cross-link with wood directly, and it will perform really well doing so, but it can really go over pretty much anything. So, like, I wax my shoes with it occasionally now. You can use it to clean up a metal bench top, and it will go over pretty much anything. What it does is, because it's an oil, a hard wax oil, it gives kind of that waxed look, and it takes off the gloss, particularly if you apply it with an abrasive. So you end up with that kind of more classic satiny look. So for this guitar, there are a couple reasons that I did a 2K and then a hard wax oil. One, I had already gone in with abrasive and whatnot and put on and then removed most of the gel stain, essentially, the unicorn spit, to get it into the grain. So I didn't want to go in directly with the Odie's oil and an abrasive, small, like fine abrasive pad, and take more of that off. Also, I wanted the protection of the 2K. So I wanted to be able to spray on because spraying on doesn't remove anything. And I wanted to have that hard finish over top to protect it properly. But I didn't want the gloss. It just wouldn't have made sense with an open green finish as far as I'm concerned. So that's what gave me the idea. I did the 2K, waited a day or two, I think. Pretty sure I did it on a Saturday. Brought the guitar home from the shop because Odie's oil you can apply in your kitchen if you want to. And then did the Odie's oil thing and knocked back that gloss and gave myself the satin finish. Thanks, Connor. I would appreciate the link. That'll make things easier for me. Yeah, so Michael builds guitars. He uses Mad Hatter wiring harnesses. They look really good. I was using the Gun Street wiring harnesses for a lot of my stuff. They're awesome. They do involve a little bit of soldering, not a whole lot. I think Mad Hatter is solderless, which is also really cool. I might not be great at soldering, but I can plug things in. Plate of linguine instead of a plate of spaghetti. I do use actually relatively high gauge wire in my guitars. I just think it's better. That's yeah, that's after me looking things up a lot and not really understanding much of them because I don't really do electronics. I looked up a bunch of stuff about wire and basically I think the whatever it is, 16 or 14 gauge, the stuff that I ended up getting is on the high end of what you can get for a guitar. And that's what I use in all my guitars now. And it comes in a little box with all the colors. And I only use red, white, and black because it's too many colors. But at some point, I'm going to run out of those. And then the inside of my guitars are going to be more interesting in terms of the coloring. That's basically where I'm at with that. Brian, yeah, Daryl, I think, had an opportunity to participate in the Great Guitar Build Off last year. And in fact, I was going to send this guitar to Daryl to demo. He's a super nice guy, like ridiculously nice. And he was going to demo it for me. And then I thought I was totally out of time. So I told him, no, don't worry about it. But thank you. And then, then they extended the time. But by then, I wasn't going to go back to the guy with 700,000 subscribers and be like, oh, just kidding. Can you do it again? I'm sure he's got a very busy YouTube schedule and everything. So I'm not going to bug him again. But maybe next year, if he's not doing a build, maybe next year I'll send him my guitar to demo. Although I got to say, Tyler put that thing through its paces. I mean, this guitar basically needed a smoke after he was done with it. It was awesome to watch. Let's continue here. No, I do not buy the vintage wire for wiring. We should probably, one of these days, we should have a discussion about vintage versus modern, but I don't think my opinion on that is going to fly with a lot of people. So here we go. Yeah, Tyler shredded. Oh, thank you for the, okay, like I said, this was my first time receiving a super chat today, and it has now happened several times. Big day. Thank you, sir, for that. So Spike says, my epoxy on my Great Guitar Build Off went under the LED. Oh, okay. Right. So he was doing a build where he was putting LED flames on top of the guitar that would like flash and stuff while you were playing. Unreal, like super cool. Very complicated in terms of shielding because you've basically got a neon sign on your guitar, which creates a lot of interference. So he figured out a way around that. Really awesome. I'm sorry to hear that the epoxy didn't work for you. That's actually quite surprising. I would have thought that it would have sealed that in there nicely. Backup build. You have a backup build? I mean, most of us couldn't even get the first build done in time. Jeez. Need to tint the threaded one-piece neck. Best method. Okay. It depends on the material, so what kind of wood it is, and what color you want. Really, I mean, there are a couple different ways to do it. When people do, classically, you see maple necks and fretboards where you can spray the whole thing, right? And you end up with the gloss fretboard. If you're going to do that, you can actually make sure your frets are polished, spray the whole thing right over the frets, and then take a razor blade, a scalpel, or better yet, a one-sided carving knife, and just gently cut under both sides of the fret, and you can peel the finish right off. So that if you're doing like a maple neck is what I would do. I would use a tinted lacquer and finish my neck in that probably. Alternatively, if you'd prefer to wipe on, you're still going to need something over top of it to protect it, but you can just go ahead and wipe on a dye. If you're going to do that, necks, we all know, are the most finicky part of a guitar. So that's the one place where I would be hesitant. I like water-based dyes because they have more open time. They have more time that you can work with them. You can use a little bit of water to re-wet them, so it's easier to get them even. I would hesitate to use a water-based dye on the neck, though. Introducing all that moisture, that can soak in. I'm not sure I'd be doing that. I haven't before. I have used alcohol-based dyes on necks before. You just need to be quick and careful, but that's probably your best bet. So I'd use an alcohol-based dye. Something like Crimson's solvent-based stuff would work fine. Mohawk has some really good ones. Or you can get the trans tint and mix it in denatured alcohol, something like that. That's probably what I'd go for. No, Michael, I didn't have to do anything specific to the action or setup for Tyler. The action on this it's low. It's pretty good. He said it was about what he was used to. He's very much a guy who generally plays the classic shape. So he does a lot of Telecaster, a lot of, LP, that kind of thing. This is, flat. There's no neck angle or anything. And it's the Telecaster scale length. So it feels a lot like a Telecaster. It's well set up that way. The bridge is not a classic Telecaster bridge. So it is a touch wider. So what you end up with there is the strings at the bottom are close to the edges. It didn't cause him any problems, but you can't bend your low E in that direction. I don't know why anybody would ever do that, but you can't, or it will slip. And if you really try and pull the high E this way instead of bending it upward, it will also slip. So that's kind of the only distinction between this and a typical, I shouldn't call it typical because it's a two humbucker, but between a Telecaster and this. The setup itself is the action's tight. It's you can tell from how he was playing it. Probably it's pretty smooth. You can never tell when I play it because nothing I play is smooth. But for him, it was pretty easy. Penny with a fret-sized notch works really well to strip the finish from frets. That is brilliant. Huh. Just okay. Well, there you go. So forget carving down either side of the fret. Give that a try. Make a little notch with a hacksaw or something in a penny, and drag it across the fret to strip the finish. Why have I never thought of that? That's brilliant. Thank you, Michael. All right. I appreciate someone chipping in on the answer there. That is fantastic. Okay, hem-stitched guitars uses RIT dyes all the time. They work great. Yeah, I'm familiar with RIT dyes. They are nice. They are water-based, I think. So I could be wrong on that, but I think they're water-based. So that's a touch risky on a neck, but they're a good dye and they're easy to find and they're inexpensive. It's actually kind of comical, like the variety and pricing and stuff like that across all of these dyes when guys use leather dye quite successfully. For some reason, as soon as you attach guitar to something like a finish, it goes up in price, and usually there's no need for it. Yeah, Daryl does tend to play around with assembling and disassembling the guitars he demos. He's good. He knows his way around electronics a lot better than I do. He obviously plays a lot better than I do. So. Side grinder on a penny. Yeah, that makes sense. The penny for stripping finish off frets is, hey, you learn something every day. So I appreciate that. So the Rockin' Donkey says, you keep implying you're not great at playing, but I wonder, do you enjoy playing? So yes, I do. The truth is, I don't play like ever. I don't know. I don't have a lot of spare time, if you know what I mean. So I grew up playing piano and violin. I kind of stopped playing violin. I grew out of the one I had, and I don't have one now. That was a long time ago. I should get another one, but I don't think I really know how to play it anymore. I enjoy playing piano. I enjoy playing guitar, but I didn't start playing guitar until I was an adult. Uh, and realistically, the only time I play guitar, unfortunately, is when I'm demoing a guitar that I've just finished. So, like twice a year, you guys see me play guitar. That's when I play guitar. Um, I like it. I would like it more if I were better at it. I think yeah, it's fun. I should pick a song or several and try to learn them. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm actually hoping now that as things progress here, particularly if I get a little less busy, that I can start taking some lessons, probably off Tyler, because I took like 6 lessons when I was starting, and that was it. And then I just kind of figured I'd try and figure it out. And as you can see, I was partially successful, but certainly not completely successful in accomplishing that. So going back and getting some lessons and having somebody show me how it's actually supposed to be done, I think will make me enjoy it more. Keto dyes, yeah. Keto dyes are also, so we're jumping back and forth, or I'm jumping back and forth here, trying to read comments between answering questions and going back to this dyes thing. Keto dyes are a powdered aniline dye, I believe, that you can mix into water, alcohol, pretty much whatever you want, and they work well, and they've got some great colors. So that's another option. I think you can buy a pack of their colors online fairly easily. So give that some thought if you're looking for dyes. The transient ones are really nice and they're liquid, which makes them a little easier, but they're also pricey because they're specific to guitars. And like I said, the industry for some reason likes to attach a higher price tag to things than you should need to pay for them. Like wood, for example, getting a body blank, usually more pricey than it should be. But hey, here we are. So give the Keto Dyes a try. Transient, like I said, really nice, but expensive. Yeah, it all kind of ends up being fairly similar. You just need to get used to the product you're using. So find something with a color that you like and go for it. Is kind of how I think. Yeah, Rab. That's basically it. Like I said, I played piano and violin. I know the music theory. I don't. This sounds silly because I'm not good at guitar, but with the frets there, it's a lot easier to get a handle on than violin. Like so, learning guitar with my experience playing the violin and with my musical knowledge, learning it to get to the point that I'm at now, did not take very long. The scales are different though. Like on a violin, it's open 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next string. So yeah, the octaves, the way that the relationship between the strings isn't the same, but still. All right, I'm back to trying to read comments here, and I probably look like I'm confused. Just down tune and play chug riffs in your demos. Yeah, I used to down tune all the time, and I basically do just play chug riffs and silly solo lines, untalented solo lines in my demos. You'll notice that this year I just did the stuff with the distortion because I can kind of come across as somebody who sort of knows how to play guitar when I do that. Whereas if I'm trying to play clean stuff, it's not so much that I have a problem with it being clean. I just don't know what to play. I'm a metalhead, uh, plain and simple. So that's the only stuff that I've tried to learn. Oh, mandolin is the same scale as a violin. Okay, with frets. You know what? That would be really cool. I've never tried playing a mandolin, but I'd like to. I tried to learn a ukulele. That confused the heck out of me. I also tried playing a banjo once. Yeah, I don't purport to be particularly talented at music. So let's don't get me wrong. If I ever said I was a talented musician, then I apologize. But trying a mandolin would be cool. Yeah. Does matte lacquer need to be polished, or is it begin? So matte lacquer can't be polished. Well, I shouldn't say that. If you polish matte lacquer, it becomes gloss. That's basically it. So matte and satin finishes, if you're spraying them, we should do a video about this at some point, but it's actually a very short answer. I did a video on how to get better satin finishes, but there's a lot of confusion about polishing, etc., flattening out matte and satin finishes. And unfortunately, the short answer is you can't. Yeah, if you're spraying them, they have to come out of the gun or out of the can the way you want them. There's very little you can do about it. You can't polish them, and because you can't polish them, you can't really flat sand them. If you like, I mean, if you want to go in with one of those high grit like white Scotch Brite pads, you can. You'll be able to tell. You can see it, but it's kind of a nice happy medium. The other alternative is kind of what I did on this thing, which is to go over it with the Odie's oil and the pad and you know, you can knock back a gloss that way and kind of get a satin out of it, which is, like I said, what I did. I'm really happy with how that worked out. I've done it before with paste finishing wax as well, but yeah, really you can't polish it, and particularly in matte finish, you can't really do this with a matte finish. It becomes satin. So with a matte finish, there's really not much you can do. You have to get it right out of the spray. Joe, thank you for the super chat. Big day. There's several of these now. Thank you, much appreciated. Start with the top. I, I can play the main riff from the Top Gun theme. Yeah, uh, that's actually a funny story. So um, I learned that last year, I think, because my wife apparently had never seen Top Gun, which is ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how you get to this age without seeing Top Gun. So that's been fixed. She's now seen it. I was particularly shocked because I mean, there's a beach volleyball scene with dudes, so I would have thought that that would have been high on her list. But yeah, she's seen it now, and now I can play the Top Gun theme, and maybe I will start my next demo with that. Brian, yeah, a couple of these guitars need a little bit of work. Most of them, I should play. I should have Tyler over to demo some of these. This guy, this isn't the question that you asked. In fact, you didn't ask a question, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So, as I said, the green one needs a little bit of work on the wiring. I'm having some trouble with that. I will try and get that sorted. And then this guy, I took the strings off. It was playing just fine, but I want to install a kill switch in it. I want to install just like a black kill switch. Um, yeah, it's a nice item. Problem is, I got to drill through this metal plate, and I didn't have the right drill bit at home, and that was months ago, and I'm me, so it hasn't happened yet. But it will at some point. Let's see here. So in terms of the matte, the primer is basically decisive. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You put your primer or your sealer on, you sand it to prep it for the lacquer. And then if you're going to build a bunch of coats for a matte finish, I would build the coats with gloss because there's an additive in matte and satin finishes to make them matte or satin. And that additive can haze up if you build a bunch of layers. Not everybody does that. A lot of people just go for it and they build it with matte or satin. I don't. I like to build it up with gloss, wait for that to dry, sand smooth with about 800 grit paper, and then add one or two coats of matte or satin to finish it off. How far? Okay, so we've got a question from BA Weevil saying, "Hey Brad, I finished my build with True Oil. It's not enough protection for me. Gonna spray with 2K poly. How far back should I sand first?" How long ago did you put the True Oil on? Is kind of like so. 2K poly it's an aggressive finish. It's strong. It binds to a lot of stuff, um, including oil finishes. I've done it. It's a little on the risky side, but it has always worked for me. Okay. So it's not what it's designed for, but I've never had a problem with it. It's not to say that you won't, but I never have. I would just light your True Oil. If it were me, this isn't necessarily what you should do, but if it were me, because True Oil adds a nice little tint too, it's a nice looking product. So I would let that dry for probably a couple weeks. And then I would sand it with 800 grit, not through the True Oil, just to scuff it up. Make sure it's well cleaned with wax and grease remover, but be careful, be gentle. You don't want to take off any of your finish. And then I would spray it. That's how I would go about it. Shirtless volleyball with me versus Team Texas Toast. How about no? I don't think that would be good for anyone. And also, I'm pretty out of shape, so I would lose that contest pretty thoroughly. Well, thanks, Michael. I would like to do more of these live chats. Actually, the problem is my work schedule, if you will, changes regularly, and I get the sense that people like having a more consistent live chat schedule if I'm going to do this sort of thing. So the medium here, the balance may be that I just can't do a consistent one, but that I try and squeeze one in every week or two. I know that's silly. Like my work schedule shouldn't change, but it does. This weekend, I happen to not have to work today, which is nice. Many weekends, I do either have to go into the office on Sunday or I need to be in the shop. I'll be in the shop later today, but yeah, so I'll try and do that. I don't know if you guys can give me a sense of whether you'd prefer this sort of thing like a Sunday morning, or at least for me, it's Sunday morning, or like a weekday evening. That would be cool. Let me know. I'll see what I can do. Yeah. So confirmation, we'll say here. Just let the True Oil dry. It will harden up. You might want to. Yeah, this is a good point. You might want to let it dry completely and harden, and then see if it's enough protection. I know you've said that the True Oil isn't sufficient for you. The True Oil is gunstock finish, right? Like that's what it was made for, and it does harden up pretty good. Like it's a relatively durable finish, particularly for an oil finish. So yeah, maybe give that a shot. Like take a look, see if it passes the fingernail test. I'm not trying to prevent you from spraying your 2K, but if you don't have to, why would you? Am I wobbling this screen? Sorry, I'm leaning on this thing. I got the standing desk here because 15 years of rugby gave me the back of a 9-year-old. So, but now I'm leaning on it and I'm probably moving it. Sorry about that, guys. Um, okay, moving on here. I was gonna try and keep this to half an hour like I usually do, because I try and keep my live streams short enough that they're easy to go back through and watch, which I think is about half an hour is the threshold. But usually they're on a particular topic, a question, something like that, where I want people to be able to get that information quickly. We're not doing that today, so we're going to go for an hour. We're gonna do another 14 minutes. Uh, thanks, Doc. I hope you are also having a great Sunday, and thank you for the congratulations on the build. I will say I'm having a reasonable Sunday. Over the course of the past hour, I've had my coffee, and so the fact that I got 5 hours sleep and drank too much last night has stopped plaguing me to the degree that it did earlier. What would you recommend as the best sanding sealer? Joe, it depends on what finish you're putting over top. It really does. Some of these things aren't compatible. My favorite, in isolation from the rest of the question that I would ask, which is what are you putting over top, is the vinyl sealer from Mohawk, the Easy Vinyl. It's quick, it's high build, it sands relatively well, but it's not technically the correct answer to your question because it's not a sanding sealer. Um, but it does build enough for you to sand. So it serves the same purpose, and that's what I would go with most of the time. if I had the equipment and was willing to sacrifice a gun every time and was in a big hurry, I'd go with something like a catalyzed Simtech polyester, because that'll seal your stuff up much faster. But it's gross, really gross. Yeah, thanks, Michael. The the thing, I've seen a lot of questions from people saying I built up the satin finish and now it's got these spots in it and it's all hazy and I don't know what happened. Well, that's it. You should be building your finish with gloss as far as I'm concerned, because that additive can give you a cloudy look, and it's not the same as blushing. It's not moisture trapped in there. It's literally the paint looks like that, and it's so easy to avoid just by building your finish with gloss instead, and then finishing off with the matte or the satin. To do finish on a one-piece maple. Oh, you can do anything you want on to finish a one-piece maple spike. Is that your? So that's your neck. I mean, yeah, if it's a nice looking piece of maple, I would just dye it and then oil it probably. We've had this discussion on my channel a few times. I like an oiled neck finish. I do not like a glossy neck. Never have. My hand, I know it seems unreasonable because sorry, not gloss should be smoother, but that old squeaky clean thing that people used to do to check stuff. Gloss is like that. When you try and move your hand along it quickly, it squeaks and sticks a little bit in a weird sort of way. So I would finish my neck typically with oil, and if I wanted a color, I would use a dye. Now, what I might start doing a little more often is spraying a tinted lacquer or something like that, and then doing the same thing I did on this, buffing it back to a satin with Odie's oil, and it feels great. So that's probably going to be something I move to as things progress. Yeah, if you want a deeper glassy type look as opposed to an oil, then you're going to want probably a catalyzed polyurethane. Alternatively, if you want it really deep, epoxy. I haven't done any videos on epoxy. I'm probably not the guy for that, but if you look at, there's an epoxy company called like Stovetop Countertop Finishes or something like that. If you look up epoxy finishes on YouTube, you'll find them. Stone Coat, maybe it's called Stone Coat. Sorry, it's been a while. They do a really nice epoxy finish and their product looks pretty good. So consider that. The inside of my ear is itchy, but I'm scared if I take this AirPod out that I'll interrupt my live stream somehow. I'm pretty sure this is run by Magic. One of them cut out on me for no reason. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to sit here and struggle like this. I hope you guys can't hear that. Can you hear me playing with that? If you can, I apologize. Yeah, Big D has some epoxy videos too, so check him out. He's got great finishing advice. In fact, he's the guy to go to for stain jobs too. I'm pretty sure most of what I learned about stain jobs prior to like learning through experimentation, where I started was probably Big D's videos, and then I did some looking up and some trying things out, and now, yeah, here we are. Brian says, what wood would you bring build with? Dream paint job. What wood would I build with? Just if it depends on what paint you're doing, right? Like, so dream paint job. If I was doing a cool, like airbrushed, fully opaque paint job, I would just build with something tight grained. I do not personally think, and I'll do a video on this at some point, I do not personally think that the wood you use for an electric guitar build changes how it sounds. And if it does, I don't think there's a right or wrong or good or bad. I just, so I'd use something tight grain that's very easy to seal. If I was doing a translucent or transparent finish, that's a different question entirely. And it depends on the specific piece of wood. Like you can see some of these places that do Buckeye burl finishes that have wild colors in them and stuff, and they're just unreal. Or Zeracote, however you pronounce that. for like a fretboard. There's some unreal woods out there. So I would just have to look at the individual pieces and pick the one that looked the way I wanted. Okay, this is escalated. He did 50 coats of what, BA? True oil? 50 coats? Okay, that's a lot. Um, I've never done 50 coats of anything. The the only finish that I'm aware of where I would do 50 coats of something is pure tung oil, and that would be to like slowly seal the bottom of a boat the way they did in ancient China. 50 coats is a lot. I hope it looks good. Probably needs some drying time. That's a lot of finish. Yeah, true oil for a neck finish is wonderful. Any kind of like modified tung oil was my prior favorite. Teak oil works fine. Now I'm using Odie's oil. True oil would work really well too. Okay, so we had the sealer discussion. Solaris was a good point. I should have raised that. Makes a UV cure that works very quickly and very well. It's disgusting in terms of the smell and stuff. It's obviously not good for you. Any UV cure stuff is like that, and UV glues like that. Just wear a mask. Is like wear a respirator if you're going to be doing that. But I mean, you should be wearing a respirator anytime you're spraying paint, and in fact, you should be wearing a respirator anytime you are applying any kind of solvent-based paint, whether it's sprayed or not. So um, Michael points out that you can roll on Simtech, and I should have realized that, but I've never tried. So I guess I'm going to do that now. Wear a mask if you're doing that. The fumes are still there. They're just not permeating the air around you, but they're still there. And it's the fumes that are, well, it's not just the fumes that are bad for you. The particulate matter is bad for you too, but the fumes will kill you. So get a respirator. The best way to apply Osmo. So I haven't used Osmo, but I am familiar with it. What I would suggest is that you take a look at, I think it's called Black Forest Woodworking on Instagram. Black Forest Wood Co. They do Osmo finishes on top of epoxy and wood tables. It looks like it's applied very similar to the Odie's oil. It's not the same, but it looks like it is applied very similar. So it's kind of, it's like a hard wax oil type of finish. You buff it in with a mild abrasive, and then you remove the excess. And you do it a couple times, and it looks like a good finish. I'd actually like to try it out, but I think it's a little redundant if I'm using Odie's oil already. I'm doing it again. I'm shaking the screen. I apologize. What do you think? Direct mount tele neck pickup or pickguard mount? I don't think there's a sonic difference. I really don't. It's with a couple of exceptions to that statement, I suppose, in that a metal pickguard provides a little bit of shielding. Like an aluminum pickguard is conductive, so it can provide a little bit of shielding. So that might create a mild difference in possible interference. Probably not, though. I've heard a lot of people say they think direct mount pickups sound better. The only difference that I can imagine on that is, I guess it's a magnet. So notionally, it could be pulled around a little bit on the springs by your strings. It doesn't make sense to me that there would be any difference. Direct mounting it keeps it in a very specific place. Mounting it on rings, I suppose, gives it a little flexibility. But if you can hear the difference, then you might be a dog. Like I can't imagine it changing anything. Okay, I'm gonna have to scroll in here. This is a lot of comments. They're so bloody small. I don't know how to move to expand this, but we've only got a couple minutes left. So, how important is it to get all of the poly sealer off? If you finish with Jody's, what's Jody's? Yeah, sorry, I don't know what that is, but if you've got a finish that is supposed to absorb, then it's important. You need to get all the sealer off. Otherwise, it won't go in properly. So if you're doing a dye or a stain or an oil that's supposed to soak in, Odie's, it's not. It's not an issue. You just sand it back and then apply it. Unless you're using the Odie's Super Duper Penetrating or something like that, like one of those ones that's supposed to go in and you're putting a pigment in it, which is cool, looks good. If you're doing that, then you need to get the sealer off because otherwise it won't apply evenly. It won't look good. But if you're just using classic Odie's oil finish, don't worry about it. I did Odie's oil over a 2K finish. Yeah, it's not a problem. Wouldn't be concerned. Oh, Michael says there are several other UV cure polyester surfboard finishes that are less finicky than Solaris. So I'm not sure which ones, but I guess do a little research if you're looking at a UV cure finish. They're a good option. They're fast. Having one that's not finicky would be good. And I feel like people sometimes think that they need to use a very specific type of paint for guitars. On an electric solid body guitar, I disagree. Put on whatever works, whatever you think is going to look good. On an acoustic, different story. It does matter on an acoustic, but that's a topic for a different day, I think. All right, looks like we're largely in agreement on that. Any of the new Melamine Finish from Crimson? I do not have it. That's the really fast drying wipe on lacquer that is supposed to act as like a quick seal. Ben just used it in his video. It looks good. Yeah, so the idea behind that stuff is if you're applying it as a wipe on, it prevents you from having a whole bunch of your stain and dye and stuff removed because it dries so quick. It's just a quick little wipe on. It's an important problem to address because if you apply a finish with the same base or with the same solvent over a dye and you wipe, you're going to take off a bunch of dye. The easy solution from my perspective and why I haven't really tried anything like that is I just spray it. It's not an issue if you're going to spray the finish. So I would just spray on a sealer or a lacquer to seal it. So conceptually, I like the product. I'd be interested in trying it, but I haven't as of yet. And that brings us to 11 o'clock. You guys have been listening to me yap for an hour. I appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. You can, of course, I'm not very well versed in this live stuff. I've only done a couple of these, but I think all of the comments that are here now will disappear. But you can definitely drop more comments on the live video after it is published, which will be almost immediate, I think. And I will, as usual, do my best to get back to you. Or you can drop them on any other video you want because it really doesn't matter. I get most of the notifications. I did have a couple pop up recently that were from years ago, which was embarrassing, but I try. So yeah, thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know if there's a way to give it a thumbs up, but if there is, I'd appreciate it. And we will try to do this a little more often going forward. Remember, and we'll go through the spiel one more time. Remember, these are going up for auction, this one and all the other invitational builders on the 19th, I believe. Ours is not, you can vote for the one that you like the best. Ours, though, if I'm being honest, the competition isn't really the point of ours. So for all of you who are participating in the official Great Guitar Build Off, I wish you the best of luck. That one, there are prizes and there is a competition. So I hope you guys all have fun. And like I said, best of luck to you. The invitational, the whole purpose of it, as far as I'm concerned, is the charities. So if you have the opportunity to bid on one of the guitars, I hope you do so. Either most likely based on the guitar that you like the best, maybe based on the charity you like the best. I don't know. Whatever works for you. Thanks again for coming and for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.